Our phones, whenever they ring, we have to go and we have to pick up the phone, and there's like a cord that goes down to the phone. We have to stay there and answer the phone. Maybe I'm working at the time. Maybe I have something cooking in the kitchen. Why can't I go and do something there? Again, somebody cashed in on it, said that, maybe we could make a cordless phone. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته to your viewers to the show. Think about it. As always, and through every single episode that we do, if you like the content of this show, you feel that you're learning something, you feel that it's giving you another perspective to think about, then please do remember to hit the like button and the subscribe button below. And also share it around if you think that this is something that could benefit other people as well. With that, today, the topic that I'm about to talk about and the information I'm about to put in front of you, I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives me the ability to do justice to this topic. Because it's a topic that helped me out as a human being, as an individual, as a professional, and it gave me a different perspective of life. And so I hope I'm able to pass that perspective on to you, and hopefully it's a fruitful one. Now, when we look at perspectives, perspective is a different way or a different angle of looking at something. And it's not bad to have different perspectives, and it's not bad to understand other people's perspectives either. This topic, I don't know who it applies to, but if you can take away anything from it, or if you could relate to it, like, subscribe, still stands. We start off with a story. There's a teacher who walks into class and says hi, hello to the students and wants to start his lesson. Now, as he starts his lesson, on the board he writes down, nice and big, dreams/goals. And he turns to the class and he wants to nominate. That means he wants to ask a few of his learners, his students, what their dreams and ambitions and goals are. So he looks at a student and says, what's your dream? What do you want to do in life? What's your ambition? What's your goal? And the student responds by saying, I want to be a doctor when I grow up, a heart surgeon, cardiologist. So the teacher goes towards the board and says, okay, and writes down, wants to be a doctor. Now, after writing this down, the teacher moves to the class, looks at the entire class, and says, I want you all to write down, take out a notebook, piece of paper, have a pen with you, and I want you to write down 5 goals that you have, 5 dreams that you have. And if these 5 things come true, you're set. Life is good and great. So students take out a piece of paper, sit down, start writing, give them a minute, 2 minutes to think about it. And at the end of it, when the time is up, the teacher stops all the students and then starts eliciting. That means starts asking them for their answers. And says, what did you write? What did you write? What did you write? So someone talks about having a career as a lawyer. Someone talks about becoming a teacher. Someone talks about becoming a professor. Someone talks about wanting to have a big house. Someone says, I want to have this car. Someone says, I want to have this mobile phone. Someone says, I want to have these signed sneakers or shoes from Michael Jordan, and so on and so forth. Now, what the teacher does is, after eliciting 10, 15 different things, takes his board marker, and right after the last job was mentioned, right before the person said that I want to have a big house when I grow up, puts a dotted line right in the middle. And then the teacher turns towards the students and says, what difference is there between your dream being something you want to do and your dream being something you want to have? At the bottom, the houses and different things. So students would say that, someone said that, that's, want a job so we could get that house. We want to become a doctor because this and this and this. So the teacher stops the student and says, okay, so you said you wanted to be a doctor, a cardiologist. Why do you want to be a cardiologist? And so the student responds that I want to be able to fix people's problems. If they come in and they have a heart issue or they have some kind of an issue with some organ, I want to be able to fix, help, and be there for society. The teacher says, beautiful, wonderful. Moves on to another student who said that they wanted to be a doctor as well. asks them the same question. And why do you want to be a doctor? Previously, as I kind of gave you a little snippet, the student says, because, I want to help people and you can get good money becoming a doctor. Okay, so if you earn good money, what's going to happen? What's going to happen if you earn good money? What's the point of earning good money? So most of the students in class agreed that you can have a nice standard of living. You could live nicely and freely, and whatever the case is. In the 21st century, today when we live, the teacher turns around and he looks at the board and he sees the 5th or 6th dream that was having a big house, and he puts a circle around it. And he looks at the students and he says that this is not a good dream to have. And everybody's like, what? Everybody's quiet. And the teacher's like, this isn't even a dream. The concept of dream house, the concept of dream this, dream car, whatever, doesn't exist. It's not a right concept to have. It's something that's fed to you, and it's not right. So the students are like, what? What do you mean? And so the teacher, now these students are grade 11, grade 12, so they're teenagers, they're pretty much adults, some of them have licenses, so they know about life, they have bank accounts, they know about different things. So the teacher asks the students, how many of you live in your own homes? Like your parents own the house. Some students raise their hands. So the teacher asks them that, have your parents completely paid the house off? Or are they still paying mortgage? Like mortgages, monthly payments. And so one or two, their parents had paid the house off, but everybody else, their parents were still paying mortgage. And so the teacher looks at them and says that, how much or how many issues do your parents have, or how much stress does your father or mother go through to make those mortgage payments? Do your parents take a vacation? Do they take some time off and go out? Do they travel around? Do they enjoy life, or are they busy working and trying to make sure that their expenses are being met? Now, I'm going to go away from this classroom question because this is a valid question that the teacher asked. I'm going to go to statistics. Statistics state since 2014, that's not very long ago, since 2014, in Canada specifically, because this example does fall under Canada and other countries as well, but hopefully my Canadian viewers where we live, in Ontario specifically, can probably relate to this. A lot of people have a lot of liabilities. That means they have a car that's on lease, they have a house that's mortgage payments are due, they have mobile phone and cellular plans and things, and they pay money off, and from a very hefty liability, what they're paying, to minimum ones such as a phone plan for $50, $30, $80, $100 per month, depending on whatever plan you have. These expenses dictate to people how their life should be. So people are always busy trying to work, trying to do something, trying to get money so that they could fulfill their expenses. Now, this teacher, let me come back to the teacher's point. The teacher says that a dream is always a cause or a purpose. A cause is to help someone, like the kid who wants to be a cardiologist just said, like someone who wants to help people. If you want to be a part of society, you want to do something that's new, something that's innovative. You see a gap in the market. We talked about business in this show in previous episodes as well. You take a look at an opportunity and you say that if this could happen, it would be better. If that could happen, it would be better. If this was the case, it would have been so much cooler. All these ideas and thoughts we have when we use products, services, when we take a look at life in general, these are all opportunities. People who do something to actually build on those opportunities and to actually make them realities. Before mobile phones came along, there were telephone lines. The landline. A lot of people don't even know what landlines are anymore. What was the landline? It was to help connect people, right? First, there were telephone booths that were made. There were specific places where you used to go. You used to put a quarter. You used to put money in. You used to take out a phone. There used to be like a dial ringer, and you used to ring people. You used to call them. Slowly and slowly and slowly, that technology advanced. Someone down the line came and said, these telephones are awesome. Wouldn't it be cool if it was in every household? And people are like, yeah, but for every household, it's going to be impossible. These are all government regulated. And all the wiring that you need and all the different licenses that you need, you can only have them in certain government areas. Somebody cracked the code. Somebody understood what a landline, what wires were required to actually have a phone line inserted into the house. And the next thing you know, telephones were in people's homes. And then everybody's like, oh, that's so cool. That's so great. Awesome. And then somebody thought, much later on in life, that, you know what? Our phones, whenever they ring, we have to go and we have to pick up the phone, and there's like a cord that goes down to the phone. We have to stay there and answer the phone. Maybe I'm working at the time. Maybe I have something cooking in the kitchen. Why can't I go and do something there? Again, somebody cashed in on it, said that, maybe we could make a cordless phone. So on and so forth. I don't want to go through every single step of this or every value-added process of this, but at the end, ultimately, all of us have mobile phones. It all started with the telephone booth or the telephone line or whatever the first phone was. It started from there, and now we have technology that making a phone call is one of the basic features that people don't even use anymore. What do people use it for? They use it for all kinds of applications, all kinds of messaging, and all kinds of, software that they want to play games on or they want to use for their work, etc., so on and so forth. Emailing, you name it. It started growing. Whoever, at whatever point in time, thought that wouldn't it be cool if you could, I'm pretty sure a lot of people thought the same thing, but somebody cashed in on it. Cashed in on it means that somebody pursued that idea and said that, you know what, we need to do this so this could happen. And they were innovators. These innovators, you could call them inventors, you could call them creative people, you could call them people who set a precedent, a benchmark, and started going forward. Nowadays, if somebody goes and buys an old mobile phone, which isn't a smartphone, maybe like an old Nokia, society would laugh at you that, you know what, it's the age of smartphones, you could get one for $100 or $200. Why are you going and getting an old phone which doesn't even have WhatsApp on it? What's wrong with you? Things like that will start coming up. Innovations have taken place. However, if you go 20 years ago, or 10 years ago, 2012, so 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and someone had a Nokia phone, that was a good phone to have at the time. With time, standards change. With time, innovation comes. This teacher told the students that your dreams should be to have a purpose, to have a cause that you work towards. And when you work towards that, you impact society in some way. The person who came up with the mobile phone did not expect to get rich. They wanted to have innovative technology that could help the world. Money came with it. The person who came up with the phone, the first person who came up with the phone, the actual landline, did not expect to get rich, probably didn't even get rich in their lifetime. Probably was something that was absolutely new, so people didn't really know much about it. But later on, whoever ran phone companies and telephone lines, they were pretty hefty rich people. People came up with smartphones. People came up with Android, with Apple, with all these different, take a look at the CEOs of the company. Take a look at Samsung. Take a look at Apple. Take a look at all these leading companies. The people who are in charge of these companies, who are ahead of these companies, or who were innovators, such as Steve Jobs, you have people like Bill Gates from Microsoft, you have people like Elon Musk. What was his dream? Electronic vehicles, electric cars, okay? Move away from fossil fuels, move away from using natural resources, move away from oil. That was the idea. If that idea clicks and you're able to do something for society, not only are you remembered, not only are you revered, that means respected, but money comes. You do become famous. You do have all the fame. In fact, take a look at anybody in the market right now who is within some form of service or product industry that has done something. None of them set out to be rich. Of course, nobody minds money. That's not a problem. Getting money is never an issue. But if you're part of a cause, then that cause is what's driving you. If it's money that's driving you, let's say you go to medical school because you think doctors make a lot of money, more often than not, people with that mentality, again, statistics that we have written down, state that people go to medical school because they feel that doctors make a lot of money after they're done with their undergrad, their bachelor's degrees. People who go to law school after they're done with their undergrad because they feel that lawyers make a lot of money. People who do culinary arts, people who get into other types of courses, all because any form of field where they get into because they feel that people make a good salary or people have good money. So money is their purpose and their dream. When they get into it, 87% of people do not pass, do not get through. And so they move on to one option, to another, to another, to another, to another, to another, to another. And what ends up happening is that you're lost because you never really had a solid dream. When it comes to a dream house, dear viewers, if you can afford a house, that's great, mashallah. If you can afford your mortgage payments, that's great, mashallah. But let's say right now in today's market, you go to get a townhouse. That costs about $1 million. If you've got $90,000 in the bank, you're making 65, 70, 80, 100K a year. You're not qualified for a $1 million house on a mortgage application. Yet there are mortgage agents who can get the work done for you for a fee. There are people who say, okay, $70,000, you'll put down payment, you can get $1 million house, but your mortgage is going to be close to $3,000, $3,500 a month, and and you work out the math and look, okay, fine, cool. But that's $1 million house. You are $910,000 short of actually owning that house. So what ends up happening is that your dream is actually a liability that will take from you, your mind, your peace, and everything. And I understand some people turn it into a business. They get a house, its value increases, and then they sell it. There was a phenomenon called flipping back in the day. I don't know how easy or how common flipping is now. I don't personally do it. I don't want to do it. I have no intentions of doing it. The point is that without that phenomena, whatever people's intentions are when they're getting into a house, a home is a place where you retire at the end of the day. A home is a place where you sit down with your family. It's a roof over your head that protects you from the weather outside. With that, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to continue on this topic. Till then, and up until the break, think about it. Welcome back to the show. Think about it. A home is a place where you retire at the end of the day. A home is a place where you sit down with your family. It's a roof over your head that protects you from the weather outside. That keeps you warm when it's cold. That keeps you cold when it's hot outside. A home is your shelter where you can retire at the end of the day or at the end of your activity. Sometimes, yes, work from home is a new phenomenon thanks to COVID and everything. You work at home, you make an office at home, you're active at home. But a home is a place where essentially you're just supposed to retire, rest, relax. Now, granted, people have ideas of what their dream home is. A big house, 9-foot ceilings, 10-foot ceilings, 3,000 square foot, 5,000 square foot. I don't know, I want an acre, I want a farm. Good for you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give it to you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you. But think for a second. If you do not have enough money to buy a house off the bat, which a lot of people don't. I think 90% of people don't. Of course, 80-something is what the statistics say, but about 90-something% because there's some people who don't always come under the statistics, or we don't really know. And then you have to do things with mortgage papers and agents and things that might be questionable at times. But what ends up happening is that you've put all your efforts towards something. Not a cause, not a purpose, a thing. Now, if a man goes and gets a house on mortgage. Now, his mortgage is $3,500 a month, $3,000 a month, $2,500 a month, especially with the market nowadays. That man is doing work, making sure that he doesn't get sick on most days if he's getting paid per hour, because the days he doesn't work, he doesn't get paid. Or she, if it's a mother who's doing it. What ends up happening is that their entire life is revolving around their expense. The kids might be enjoying the house, their spouse might be enjoying the house, their neighbors and family, extended family, if they have parents, if they have grandchildren, all of them might be enjoying that house, but they aren't. They're running around with the expenses that they have to fulfill. Now the day, inshallah khair, if you pass away, kullu nafsin zaiqatul maut, we know that we're going to die someday. And even if you're not a Muslim, tell me one person who's alive from 1820. You're not going to find anybody. So the one thing that's guaranteed is death will come to you. somehow or somewhere or some form. The day you die, and let's say you haven't paid that mortgage off, the bank still wants its money, or the lenders still want their money. What are your kids going to do? What are the people who were your dependents going to do? The first thing they're going to do is that dream house that you got, they're going to sell it off. So everything you worked for, everything your kids knew you by, everything your dependents knew you by was that house, and now it's gone. Spend time with your family, create a purpose, have a cause. But when they sell that, then that's it. They're going to try to get rid of their liabilities as soon as possible. In fact, most people, whenever they start facing a problem in life, what's the first thing they do? They start getting rid of their liabilities. Whether it be their car, whether it be their house, whether it be some stocks, whatever it might be. They get rid of their liabilities. And so a liability, according to the story that I'm telling you, and the teacher who turned around and looked at his students, his final statement was, your dream cannot be a liability. Because that's not a dream. So the moral of that story is, do not let a liability be your dream. Let a cause, make a cause your dream. In fact, the impact of that cause should be your dream. The same names that I've taken, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, we talked about, other people such as Steve Jobs as well. But take a look at contemporary people as well. Maybe these people are even the toppers when it comes to innovators. Take a look at simple people. For example, for those of you who live in Ontario, for those of you who live over here in Canada, maybe you know about an academy that teaches English and math called Kumon. Kumon was an academy made all the way back in Japan by a man whose name was something Kumon. Kumon was, I believe, their last name. What did they do? That person, Mr. Kumon, was a math teacher. When his son started studying in school, he wanted his son to be ahead of the curve, so ahead of the class, and be sharp with math skills at least. So he started developing activities and different things that he would give to his child when they were at home, so that their math skills would really refine, freshen up, and they'd be fast in class, and they'd be number one or get that position, whatever. This man, Kumon, found out that a lot of his activities and his approach to teaching mathematics was actually an effective approach. He said, wait a second, wow, my son is scoring really well. He started making worksheets and activities and different things with guidance and, a manual on how to do these activities, the steps that were required. And he actually started giving them and selling them to schools. He started selling them to different people around him. He started actually having classes in his own house where students used to come and he used to implement whatever he was teaching and whatever he was designing. And he saw that kids were really good at learning math. Now, this isn't like a rocket science formula. It was just something that was teaching children math better at the time. It was more relatable by children. It wasn't sit down, open your book, do this page to that page. It was something more interactive. Even today, as an educator myself, I work at a high school. I have a lot of wonderful colleagues. What's everybody doing? They're doing research, they're looking at methodology, they're looking at different approaches to teaching. And every now and then, and every now and again, and more frequent now than it was in the past, we come up with new methods of teaching, new ways of making a class dynamic, new ways in getting a student's attention, new ways in making things more personalized and more relatable so that they can actually learn. So at his time, whenever this was, 50 years ago or whatever it was, he had this idea, he was innovative, he was relatable. After doing so, Kumon, that idea spread like wildfire. Somewhere down the line, English language was added to it as well. And different approaches to that were added too. Today in Ontario, Kumons run across different cities. You have Kumons inside, shopping malls and plazas and places. Even near drugstores, Sharper's Drug Mart, there's like a Kumon on top of it or below it or somewhere. Kumon is quite famous. They make a lot of money and everything. Money came. Money wasn't an issue. It was the cause. And everybody remembers that. Now it's a brand. And of course, there's other stories about the face in Kumon. I don't know if many of you know about Kumon, but the logo, it has a face of a child that looks like they're not smiling, they're sad, or they're whatever. There are a lot of stories. I don't even know the entire story of it completely. I didn't do that much research, but I got as much as I found out to know that a cause was the dream. And with that, you're remembered. With that, you get fame. with that, you become reliable, you become respectful, you actually have a status in society. It's not a job that's giving you a status. It's you that's giving you a status. And that's what you want to be in life. Everything else will come. As a Muslim, and for those of my viewers who are Muslims, our dua should be very simple to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that just let us be content in life. Let us live a life that's respectable. Roof over our head, 3 meals a day, being able to provide, alhamdulillah. See, and as a Muslim, looking at it in this aspect, subhanAllah, your ikhlaq, that's the only thing that needs to be good. Your ikhlaq is good. You follow your obligations towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the 5 pillars of Islam. You know about the 6 pillars of faith. You be a good person. You don't cheat others. You don't do things that are, shortcuts, or you try to do something else which isn't right, of course, not legal or whatever the case is. We just have good characters, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make us those people of good characters. Ameen ya Rabb, thumma ameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us those people who will go on to the Sirat al-Mustaqim, on that path where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave His blessings and bestowed His blessings upon those people. Ameen ya Rabb, thumma ameen. That's what we want to be. If you do that, there are many du'as and prayers I'm pretty sure you've heard where you make this dua, you make this prayer, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala builds you a house in Jannah, in paradise. So at the end of the day, that's kind of guaranteed. You just have to do good in this world, and then you've got whatever house you want, whatever kind you want in the akhirah, in the day of judgment. So why is a liability your dream right now? See, at the day of judgment, we're all going to be saying nafsi, nafsi, nafsi. That means myself, myself. We're going to be like, all about ourselves. So if that time is going to come already, now's the time when you say ummati, 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 your people, my community. Do what you can for your people right now. Work with a cause. That should be your dream. And what ends up happening is that when you have a cause in your mind, everything else falls into place. Elon Musk, everything fell into place, right? Another example of a normal person, I give you an example of Kuman. Shahid Khan, he's a Pakistani American. He came to America. I don't know if it was a story where you had $2 in your pocket and now he's a millionaire. I don't know if that's true or whatever the case is. But he was a man who busted tables at a restaurant, was a dishwasher, worked in a company for car manufacturing, and there were, I believe, some spare parts that were made. He came up with a design of making a bumper that General Motors uses nowadays. When that design was made, it was really good. Whatever happened, he endorsed it. And I think, I don't remember the exact name of the company they used to work for, Flex and Fuel, I believe. I'm not sure, but you can Google it and find out. He ended up buying that company later on. And now he owns the Jackson Jaguars. He owns Fulham FC in the UK, a soccer team. He owns different teams. He is a multi-billionaire. And when you look at his interviews and you see how it wasn't about making money. It was about having an impact in society that would benefit society somehow. Everything else falls into place. And with that, if you run with a cause, your mindset completely changes. The way you talk to people completely changes. It's not going to be the conversations everyone's having about how expensive things are, how cheap things are. I want to buy this, I want to buy that, this is what I want. The new phone is out, I need to buy that phone. The new car is there, I don't know, I need to do this. Those conversations are fine. It's not that those conversations are bad. It's just that you take it a step up. Those conversations means nothing to you anymore. Those conversations mean nothing to you anymore. You're thinking about your cause and what you're going to be doing in the future, how you're going to be helping people. You came up with a product. This product is going to help you X, Y, Z and help people like this too. You see the market and there's a shortage of something. Or you see there's an opportunity, there's a gap. I need to fill that gap. I can work on this. It might not be that beneficial to society, but it's a gap and you see it and you're like, you know what? This is an opportunity. You work on that opportunity. Your conversations end up changing then. When you talk to people, it's not about, I want to buy this house or this car or this thing or this that. When you want to buy a house or you want to buy a car because you're working for a cause, the day you have money, you'll buy it. And when you do have money in the bank, you're not looking at cars, houses, and things. You see something and you like it, you impulsively buy it at times as well. You want to make yourself come to that position, to have that mentality, to work with a cause, to work for a dream, something you believe in, not something society believes in or wants you to believe in. Buying a house, a dream. 200 years ago, that was never a dream. 100 years ago, that was never a dream. You needed a place to call home where you could retire for the end of the day. People woke up early in the morning, Fajr time, sunrise. They used to come back home when it was sunset, and they used to go to sleep. They've done so in barns, they've done so in farmhouses, they've done so under the open sky. A place that you call home is a place where you retire at the end of the day. Everything else that comes with it, or these new functions and features, are great. But they shouldn't be your dream. Your dream cannot be a liability. Take a look at Martin Luther King. Everybody remembers Martin Luther King Jr. He had a speech, I have a dream. Was his dream to own a house or a car or something? No, his dream was equality of people. His dream was everybody having equal rights. His movement, that entire thing, and people remember him by that. In fact, the day Barack Hussein Obama, the President of the United States, before Joe Biden, before that was Donald Trump, before Trump, when Barack Obama was first elected into office, when he was elected and everybody was at the White House, I don't know where they were. Maybe they were in Washington, D.C., maybe they were, I don't know, some other place, New York. I don't know where Obama's house is. I frankly don't follow the guy. But wherever he was, it was him standing with his wife and kids, and on a projector, they had Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech going on. People were crying in the audience, people were happy and shouting and whatever it was, because after so long and after so much struggle, and even the struggle that exists today, Barack Hussein Obama, a representative of the Negro persuasion, a representative of the black community, a representative who was highly educated, very eloquently spoken, was elected into office. And you cannot deny that that man was definitely eloquently spoken. One of the best U.S. presidents, according to popular opinion and popular thought. It's a cause that helps you become something and get somewhere. And that gives you peace as well. That gives you the urge to wake up in the morning and do something. With that, I just have one last line to say, and then we're done. You start earning respect when you have a cause or a purpose. People know you for what you believe in, not for what society or the world wants you to believe in. Don't let a liability be a dream. Make a cause a dream. Become someone. Have an impact in society. Have respect. And that will see you through. And inshallah, it is my dua, it is my prayer that all my brothers and sisters, all my viewers out there, everybody, whether you're Muslim, you're non-Muslim, wherever you are, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all hidayah and bring us to the right path. May your dreams that are causes and purposes come true, and you're able to have an impact on society. You're able to work towards it, even if it's one step at a time, or even if it's 1 inch or a centimeter or millimeter every day. You're able to work towards it, and you are a success, and the world remembers you by it. Ameen ya Rabb, thumma ameen. With that, think about it. Have a good day. Inshallah, see you next episode. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.